Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Leah Parsons coming in from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Today's topic, our weekly topics, are going to be changing and evolving each week. And this week's topic is, again, I like to speak a lot about the mind because it's our most powerful asset. And the beliefs we have in our mind about us, about the world, about our life experiences and how we view them is so important of how we move forward in our life. So if you're watching this, you're probably already interested in inner awareness, development, knowledge in a more of a innate type of knowledge, a certain knowing that's on a deeper level than your mind. And I remember years ago when people would say to me, well, you just got to think positive and count your blessings and look for the good things in your life. And I just couldn't do that for very long. It just didn't match my internal dialogue. It didn't match what was happening in my mind of that, things just don't work out for me, and oh, this isn't going to work well for me, and if I didn't have bad luck, I had no luck, all those things that were running in the background. But over time, when I had a full collapse, emotionally, mentally, physically, over time, I did have to start looking for the things that I could be grateful for in the day. And when you start to do this, and it's not about, you'll hear me say this probably in every single video, it's not about ignoring how you feel. It's about paying attention to where the mind is trying to take you. So at the end of the day, to reflect on your day and look at all the things you did right. Look at the moments that went well. Because when we focus, what we focus on grows, and we know that. Right? Science has already proven that over and over again. But we tend to get in this pattern of whatever your pattern is, the mind will want to take you there. So yeah, I know, but that's for people who have this together and they have this type of job and this type of marriage and they have, a home and they have all these things. That's for people who are already successful, whatever that means. But that's another limited belief. That's another story we tell ourselves. And then we might say, well, my life, I've had it much harder than other people. So, I have these physical ailments. I have these experiences that happen to me. I have PTSD. I have depression. I have anxiety. So I can't help the way I am. This runs in my family. This is just the way it's always been. It's always going to be. Check that out inside of yourself. Because I know I had certain stories running about my life and that, that things were going to be hard for me. My life is kind of hard. And life is hard. And life is a beautiful struggle. But it's both of those things. And when we accept that life is beautiful, life is hard, life is challenging, life is magical, then we can embrace everything that comes instead of ignoring or trying to avoid certain situations and living in fear and then only looking for the feel-good emotions or chasing that next hit, everything in the external world. But if you start, and if you are curious and you have a curious mind, you want to start asking yourself some questions. Why do I feel like that? Why am I thinking so negative all the time? You might not even know that you're thinking negative all the time until you go in there. And maybe you think that people are out to get you, or they're out to, do you wrong, or they're trying to do these things to aggravate you. Like, to check that out. And even if it's true, are you going to spiral in those thoughts, or are you going to come back home to yourself and see what's best for you and how you can move in your day? Right? So we kind of get in these patterns and we don't want to take responsibility for our healing journey because it's hard. And it is hard. But when you're moving towards healing, you're moving towards something and you're letting things go as you move along. But if you're just staying stuck in your stories of why things can't go right and how you've been wronged in your life, then you're just going to stay there. And you can stay there for 5 years, 10 years, or you can start moving towards healing. And it's the little steps. It's just the little steps every day. Deciding you're going to do it differently. Deciding you're going to see what's going on. Question your thoughts. Challenge yourself. The mind is not a reliable source. You already probably realized that, because if you go to your mind, you'll see it's trying to convince you not to change, not to move, not to do something different, because it wants to keep you safe and secure in your limited beliefs. But it's actually keeping you stuck in a prison with 4 walls, with not very far to go emotionally. Right? So what are you doing today to set yourself up for success? What can you review in your day to say, well, I did that. Maybe you had this goal of was this long and you only did this much. Why don't you focus on what you did do right? So it's not about not taking accountability for the things that you didn't do right in your day. It's not giving excuses. It's giving what you did right more leverage to do more of that. Right? So it's a setup for success. But when when you're cranky with your partner, you're yelling at your children, yes, we have to take stock of that and say, you know what? I did that wrong. And I got to work on that. I got to see where that's coming from. I got to tune into that earlier than getting caught up in the whole momentum of the anger. Yes, we do have to reflect on that and say, okay, next time I'm going to try to do it differently. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some compassion. Reflect, take responsibility. You can't just be like, well, I have PTSD, so that's why I reacted like that. That's the way it is. It might be the way it is, but how can we work with our nervous system? How can we get the help we need so that you can catch it sooner, so that you can change that? And then, at the end of the day, then say, well, you know what? I did go for that 20-minute walk. And that was a good way to nourish my body. Because we can't heal unless we're healing the mind, the body, the spirit. And that includes moving our body, finding ways to move your body that you actually enjoy. Because we're not meant to be sitting down all day. And what that'll do is cause more depression, more anxiety. The body was made to move. So moving it in ways that you enjoy is important. What are you putting in your body? Our food, we all know that our food influences our moods, our hormones, everything inside of us. So if we're feeding ourselves with crap all the time, of course we're going to feel like crap emotionally too. So again, it's taking those little steps and finding your own self-worth in doing so. So if you feel like your self-worth is taking a hit or you're beating up on yourself, ask yourself, is that even your voice? That might be your parents, your mother's voice from your childhood. That might be somebody else's voice that's beating you up, that you've just taken that on and it doesn't belong to you and you don't need to keep it any longer. So even just drinking the right amount of water through the day nourishes the cells so you don't get headaches, you don't have as much brain fog. These are small steps towards healing your life. So when we think about healing, sometimes we get overwhelmed because we think it's these big things we have to do. But if we just take the steps, and I can teach you and show you what those steps are, because some of them are universal. We have to go in. We got to go in with love and compassion. And being afraid to face yourself is one of the most saddest things I've ever heard, because so many people are focused on the external things in life and talking about other people and what they need to do to heal their life, what they need to do to get better, always focusing externally and never going inside yourself to know you, to be the own excavator of your soul, to see what nourishes you, what bothers you, what kind of life do you want to live. not because of anyone else, but because you deserve a life that is nourishing to you. So asking yourself these questions is a huge step towards self-love, acceptance. But so many people don't go in. They're focusing on their family, their work, everything out there in the world. But what about you? Don't you matter too? So that's what I wanted to share today. And please hit subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be in weekly. And if it resonates with you, please share it out to your community, to your friends. And I will see you next week. Have a great day. And if you're not having a great day, remember to honor that. Honor the emotions and watch the stories of the mind.